All right, guys, let's get started. I have a list here. Just chill for a second, okay? Conan O'Brien, Will Ferrell, the Rolling Stones, Harrison Ford, Metallica, Buzz Aldrin, Motley Crue, Adam Sandler, some late greats, Jimmy Buffett, Sean Connery, President Gerald Ford. Were all at one point in their life in the last 40 years up a creek, and they called
DriveSavers.
Yes. Financial confidence for your hip pocket.
Money is really just energy.
Thanks for checking out It's All Money.
Hey, welcome to It's All Money, powered by Sonoma Wealth Advisors. My name is Dano, Weir. Sonoma Wealth, we are a financial advisor in the town of Sonoma. And this show, It's All Money, is the story behind personal finance and business and the stories behind the money, the stories behind those moments where you're caught in a jam. You go, wait, I didn't know that this was finance, and it actually is. I am sitting in a conference room in Novato, California. I am looking at the Belmarin Keys. It's beautiful. And my guest today, if you've ever had that moment where that hard drive with everything you need failed, that cloud storage suddenly disappeared, or maybe you can't get to your crypto, you'll want to know about my guest today, the head of cyber recovery and the director of engineering, Andy Moss and Mike Cobb from DriveSavers. Welcome, guys. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah,
Thank
you. Thanks for having us.
Okay, so what is this host even talking about, Andy? Because I got my laptop, and I turn it on, all my stuff's on my laptop, and it's always going to be there, and there's no problem. So what do you mean lost my drive?
Yeah, it's a situation many people find themselves in where unexpectedly something doesn't work. And technology is imperfect. As many advancements as we've had over the last many years, stuff happens, things break. And when you least expect it and when you are least prepared for it sometimes as well. So whether it's your hard drive or your iPhone, or it's your critical servers at work that store all your business information. No one ever plans to lose their data, but when they do, they need to have an answer.
It's the promise of technology, and it's why so many people shove so much of their life into it, is this promise of permanence. Yeah. Until that moment, you're like, wait, what? I didn't even know this was possible.
Right. It's easy to get access to your data or make access to your data.
And if it's part of your business, now you got a financial problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mike, you're the head of engineering. Give me an idea of the breadth of devices that DriveSavers works on. Just iPhones, just a couple of portable hard drives. I mean, what is the scope here?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you know, I kind of like my eyes light up. It's like, oh my gosh, well, whatever holds zeros and ones, whatever holds that digital data, that's what we recover from. So from, like you said, iPhone, a smart device like an iPad, your hard drive, which is on your computer, servers, micro SD cards, video. I mean, just any type of device that holds data. A defibrillator. We've done a recovery for a forensic
defibrillator?
Recovery. Yep, absolutely. For a court case.
What was the data on the defibrillator?
Well, they needed to know that it actually engaged properly at the right time properly and things like that.
Like a malpractice or something like that?
Exactly. So, so any type of data that's on any device could need to have a recovery for whatever reason. GPS systems. There's just so many more. It's incredible.
And I mentioned all the celebrities at the start. We'll get to them a little bit later in the episode. But I want to talk about business owners right now, because business owners, how much of your business is on a server? How much are your books worth? And Andy, talk to me about the value that a business owner might have to have DriveSavers as part of their continuity plan.
Sure. So first of all, every business owner, a best practice is insuring your business. It's a requirement, and they're always put a business insurance policy in place to protect their business against business interruption. It's a common practice. Those business interruption policies attempt to cover and protect for the loss of either operational downtime or financial losses that might occur as a result of some disaster that happens to your business. So business continuity plans cover, and disaster recovery plans, as we've called them in IT for 30, 40 years, cover, disasters that you don't expect, fires like we have in California, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes like we have in Minnesota. But the thing that has really come to the forefront in the last 10 years, especially, are cyber attacks on businesses. And so the average or your standard business insurance policy doesn't always include coverage for cyber. So what I've personally seen in the area that I specialize in here at DriveSavers is helping businesses recover from ransomware attacks. And in most of the work that we do is related to an insurance claim against that business interruption, but specifically they have a cyber policy. So for all the business owners that are listening or watching, they want to double check that they have cyber insurance riders or addendums or additions to their core business insurance policies. And ransomware attacks are unfortunately more prevalent today than they ever have been. And the operational downtime is the metric that the insurance companies use to measure the value of that business being down. So if you haven't done your planning, it's hard to know how much it's going to cost you on a daily basis when your business is shut down and not operating. So that's where,
well, even the whole business or part of the business, any part of that business could also be massive problems for that business.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I want to stick on this too, because the hard drive catching on fire and you guys recovering it is sort of a unfortunate accident.
Mm-hmm.
The phone in the lake is an unfortunate accident, but this is the more nefarious angle that you guys also are able to help with. Can you tell me an abstract or paint me a similar scenario of what a business ransomware attack looks like, either of you?
Yeah, I'll give you the quick, the term that we use in the industry is the incident response. And there are companies that, consider it same thing as a first responder that you'd have on a fire situation. Incident response, the life cycle, and digital forensics firms are a part of that, companies that we partner with. But from the first moment a company realizes that their systems have been encrypted, they find a ransom note when they come to work on Monday morning on their systems, it said, your systems have been infected and you need to pay us, the cyber criminals, a ransom of X amount in order for us to send you the keys to unlock your systems. That kind of shock and surprise is what, unfortunately, a lot of business owners experience. The life cycle itself, at that point, that's what triggers the incident response from a cybersecurity perspective. And those are the companies that help out in a reactive services model, where they help, first of all, establish communications with those, we call them threat actors, the cyber criminals, or the term is threat actors. Establish communications, find out, is there a real risk to data that's been stolen from the company for that being released, whether that's personally identifiable information or personal health information, financial records, things like that. They will also deploy forensics teams who collect images and start doing analysis on how the threat actors got into the network.
Or if they're still in. They're also responsible for deploying software to secure and remediate those systems and clean them and get them back up and running. And it's not just the laptops or workstations that are deployed, it's the core servers that are running that business as well. And so those companies are the first phone call. Usually they're recommended by an insurance company or a data privacy law firm. And then those companies are ones that we partner with, and they call us when there are certain data sets that are required for either operational purposes or compliance or regulatory reasons, when the business continuity plan kicks in and they can't restore from backups. If there's data that's inaccessible for one reason or another, typically either deletion or corruption, and if they can't get access to those data sets, they call us, and that's where we come in as DriveSavers. If you don't mind, so they don't get access to the data sets because the threat actors actually either encrypt those data sets, so they're in your network, a lot of times for 30 days or more, learning where you back up, what the data sets are, where they go, how they run. And then they either encrypt the backups themselves or delete the backups. And so either way, the threat actor has made it so you only have the files that are encrypted. So you want to buy the decryptor.
Yeah.
Or that's the only action you think you have.
It's extortion.
Yeah.
That's how the ransom game works.
Yes.
Is they're extorting, and that, to your question, is how you end up valuing the daily operation of your business. Yeah. And special point and advice to any business owner out there: if you have a business insurance policy and a cyber insurance policy, do not keep an electronic copy of that policy where the threat actors can find it, because just the other day, I was on a call where there was a business with about 50 employees that was impacted. All their systems were encrypted. They don't have a lot of cash flow, but the cyber criminals' ransom demand, which was over 7 figures, so over $1 million, happened to match exactly what the business insurance policy coverage looked like. Yeah. And so they said, hey, we can't pay this. There's just no way. So we need DriveSavers help to see if we can get their data back. So, so don't keep your policies in the same place as everything else. Take it, put it on a thumb drive, put it in a safe, have a paper copy,
print it out.
Whatever, print it out. Yeah. We want to be eco-conscious, but definitely print out a copy of your policy and don't keep it in your office. Keep it at home or have 2 copies or something like that.
Yeah. You've mentioned this a couple times in my research. I also found this, that people then called you. It feels like a little bit like you are the last line of defense, or people's like, and then, I mean, you must have pulled off, and I saw an award out there for you for your 20 years here at the company. I know, and now it's been 30.
That was years ago.
I know. Now it's been 30. So
31.
You it seems like you've pulled off some moonshots for recoveries.
Oh, it's exciting. I mean, DriveSavers does over 15,000 recoveries a year, and so there's so many different people we've been able to help, and it never gets unexciting, or I'm not sure what to say. It is exciting to know that you helped the person who lost the data, or the company lost the data, to get back, we get reunited to that, whatever it is. It could be poetry, it could be music, it could be, the whole business. It's incredible. It's really, really fun.
And part of that has been helping in the wildfires, which unfortunately have been happening in California. I know specifically the most recent, the Southern California fires. Yeah. You want to talk a little bit about the work you did there?
I'll touch on it, and Mike can continue it. But we DriveSavers at that time, obviously as a 40-year-old California company, we cared deeply about helping people in California. We donated, I think it was up to $1 million worth of data recovery services to help people that have been impacted by the fires. And in those cases, what we see are primarily home users. We've been helping consumers and home users for a very long time, but also small businesses, especially, whose systems have been impacted. So if you have an example or two, that'd probably be good from the wildfires for someone who actually lost their house in a wildfire.
I was going to say that,
you could speak better to it than I can.
For me, it was the Tubbs fire, 2017. And so we were able to help. Luckily, our house was near the end of the fire. Now, I lost everything. Our family lost everything in the fire, but we rebuilt. We have a great community around us, wonderful friends and family that helped pull us all together. The main thing is that there were some businesses we were able to help just down the street from us, where a lot of times we need to have some luck on our side when it comes to wildfires, where hopefully there's a first responder that gets some water, gets something to put that fire out, at least start to put it out, because there are times we're not going to be able to recover the data because the fire is going for hours on end at way too high of a degree. So anyway, and I met a lot of the people specifically in the Tubbs fire and some others that have come up from some of the California fires, where I meet them personally because it is personal to me to be able to at least share our emotional experiences together, especially when it's no recovery in those cases. So, and Andy knows, I get on the phone with customers all the time, and it's because it is that personal touch that I've always liked. And so it is something that means something to me personally.
It's frequent, if you see a fire damaged device, if it's a phone or a laptop or a computer, any device, when you first see something that's been in a fire, it's almost impossible, to your point earlier, imagine that there's data that's recoverable off that device. But if the particular chips that store the data on that device have not been too severely damaged, despite what's happened around it, we have tools, and we'll show you a little bit later, machines that can help analyze the integrity, the structural integrity of that chip itself, and then be able to extract data from it. So the core lesson there is, no matter how ugly it is, there may be a chance.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Describe for me because in order to do this work, you just touched on it. Describe for me some of the gear you have in house. I know you have an X-ray machine, and where does this all come from? How does this start? I mean, what's the story here?
Well, the story is we focus on data recovery. So all of the engineers, when we're faced with any device that comes in, we need to go, well, how does it work? And is there a way to affect change? Can we get it back to working or get it to extract the data set? So it comes from the idea that, well, we're the experts. What do we need to either get a recovery or prove that it can't be gotten? Prove that the device won't give up that data. So that's really the mindset you have to be in. And again, 40 years we're celebrating right now. It's something that it's all we do.
Yeah,
is recover data. So
if we wind the clock back, though, like 40 years, it started with taking apart hard drives and fixing the pieces that were broken, that were preventing access to the data on the drive. So what's amazing is how, and I started selling personal computers back in 1991. So back when a hard drive, I remember the first 1 gigabyte hard drive that came out, which was like the size of this thing on the table. It was $2,000 at the time. And now a gigabyte is like not enough storage to, well, for my PowerPoint presentations, they're bigger than a gig. So that's a different topic. But
Very
anyway,
I got 100 megabyte zip disk.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Way back. So, but taking with the equipment on the bench necessary to take apart those devices and then repair those devices is where it really began. And then what's really, I think the accumulated knowledge over the years is there are two things. One's the physical, understanding physically how those devices are built and how they store and write information to, whether it's an SD card from your camera or a single hard drive that's in your laptop, up to these giant storage systems that sit in the data centers that have hundreds and hundreds of hard drives and store tons of data.
We had one with 170 hard drives.
Yeah.
So 170 4-terabyte hard drives that all are in
4
one
terabyte hard drives.
Yeah, all stacked together, all different RAID configurations. I won't get technical, but the bottom line is this massive rack, and many of them went down at the same time. They're supposed to act as one device. So think of those 170 drives as one huge drive.
Yeah.
Well, it started to fail. And so that was something that, that was a massive, there was at least 7 different subgroups of this particular entity that all were down, all of their research, independent, all down at the same time. It was massive, massive problem for the company.
Yeah. So you'd see the physical failures, and then what emerged as well is logically that data may be stored. Logically, all the data is stored like on your phone in the same way. But if you get to a system that has 170 hard drives, it's stored in different ways by different manufacturers across all those different devices. So when we have to rebuild data, we have to start layer by layer at the physical layer and rebuild to the point where you can actually see all the parts of the file that may have been across a bunch of different drives. And that's just kind of what I think is the magical part of what we do, is rebuild that file from data that was stored all over, whether stored physically on one hard drive or virtually in other parts of those hard drives in that system, and put it all back together again. We use the term Humpty Dumpty all the time around here, which is strange, but it's very analogous to our work.
Yeah, I was thinking it's like a folder in a filing cabinet, and all the paper is in one little folder. You take it out and throw the paper on the ground. Well, that's a lot of what a RAID is the computer will keep track of what page is what and what goes to that folder so it knows what it is.
Yeah.
So
to use, and then to extend that just one step further, in a ransomware attack, when files are encrypted, and this is just, again, trying to help explain it for the layman. Imagine that folder, which had, 100 pages of paper in there. Imagine that those 100 pieces of paper were, thrown on the ground, but then the threat actor decided to pick up randomly 10 pages out of that 100, and then they shredded them or they burned them. And then we have to take 90 of the 100 pages, somehow put it all back together again, and then rebuild the data for those 10 pages that are missing. So that's what we do. But it's a great analogy, and it helps explain it for the layman. Like, okay, what do you mean the data is encrypted or it's deleted?
Can I do one more layer, though? So
No.
I'm going to do one more. Because this is what's exciting, how we're successful with ransomware.
Yeah.
In the case of a threat actor that has now deleted the backup, or the backup has also been encrypted, those are they're copies of the same data. So those 10 pages that were shredded might be different 10 pages on the backup. So we now will take and look for the 10 pages that were shredded and put it back to the 90 that we found. Yeah. Now we can complement the recoveries and actually make a good set of files from scratch, where we did not decrypt. We found all the pages, put them together. And sometimes some users have 3 or 4 backup systems that were functional, but the threat actors did X, Y, Z to those. We're able to take all of those and piece them together to make complete sets. We had a customer that they paid over 7 figures. They got the decryption key, so they were like, we had to pay them. We had to do that. They run the key, and it didn't work. We get this all the time. It didn't work. Now they had to use our services. Within days, we got all the data back.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned at the start of the show, we're a financial advisor, so in the financial space. So if you think about value, if you think about money, right? We were in a physical world for a long time, and then here comes the promise of the digital world, right? So now you don't even have to. There's no threat of having your pocket picked. We're going to put it all on digital. It's going to be digital cash. That digital cash has now become physical cash again. We're sort of back to the physical space. How have you, Mike or Andy, the crypto world? How has that intersected with what you do here?
That's you.
Yeah, I was going to say, so...
Other than paying ransom demands in Bitcoin, which is the common practice.
That is.
Right. And there are very specific rules around, that have to be followed if there is a payment facilitation that's made through a crypto broker. Like, there are certain cyber criminals that the U.S. federal government has prohibited any interaction with. So engaging with a firm that specializes in that kind of work, if a ransom demand is made, is very important to find the right company and then to follow those laws so that so you're very careful. But that's the only way that ransom demands are ever paid is through a crypto broker. Right, so anyway.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. But when you do that, many times businesses, they don't have crypto. They don't have a wallet to pull from. They don't have the money in the wallet to do. So there's such a learning curve at just for the paying the ransom. The other thing is that if they did invest in crypto, well, are they on an exchange? Is it something that's accessible only by the CEO? Do they have a ledger, a physical device that they're going to use, they're going to hold? Well, what if that device fails, which it does? What if they forget the actual PIN code to that? They do. What if they forget the seed phrase that's supposed to be able to figure out your private keys and all this? Well, you forget those. You have the seed phrase in the wrong order. And so there's so many different reasons that you're going to unfortunately lose access to your crypto. Or you have it on a hard drive, and the hard drive goes click, 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 click.
And
click.
have you? Have you recovered?
Yeah, absolutely. Have we recovered? Since crypto came out. It has, if it has a 0 and a 1 and it's needed by somebody, we've seen it.
I mentioned your Hall of Fame at the start of the episode, and we have to get to that because this was one thing that just blew my mind. Your website's DriveSaversDataRecovery.com. You can see it on there. There's photos around the office here. Your office is amazing, by the way. All kinds of great memorabilia. you have to tell me some of these stories. I love movies and music.
For
Do you know
anybody.
any? Do you know any of them off the top of your head, or?
What's a good one? Well, I mean, for me, it's going to be the Simpsons. Where Bill Oakley, he's one of the producers. Back in the day, he had a SyQuest cartridge. So this was a 44 megabyte SyQuest cartridge, and he never had
SyQuest cartridge.
It's a you said zip 100 megabyte zip cartridge.
Yeah.
This was before that. So
like a big floppy,
it's like a big floppy, it's a 5.25 inch,
but not the actual floppy.
No, it's
But
actually
like a big-
hard drive platter
Yeah,
inside of this case, and so he would put his scripts on the SyQuest cartridge and take it with him. He didn't want to leave it at the office. He didn't want to leave it on a hard drive. So he was doing the right thing by having it on a backup device. It's just he didn't have a backup of it. So the Who Shot Mr. Burns episode was coming out, and what script was on there? The Who Shot Mr. Burns script was not complete. It was on that cartridge.
And it failed, and you saved the
and
episode?
it failed, and we saved the episode. It was so cool, and we actually have a little picture of that where he signed it, and it was exciting. It's like, because The Simpsons has been around for a long time, but this
Yes.
is when it was first coming out.
Yeah.
So super fun. So that was exciting.
Any others off the top of your head you can remember famous ones?
Well, Gene Roddenberry is a fantastic one for the estate. It wasn't Gene Roddenberry himself; he had passed, but it's for the estate, and they had
This is the creator of Star Trek, if you don't know.
yeah. Oh
Right.
yeah. Sorry. So he had
For our trekkers out there.
Exactly. Yeah.
well, the estate had a couple hundred floppy disks, and they didn't know what were on it, and they were 5.25 inch. I keep saying that it was about that big. So they didn't have a modern computer that could read it. They didn't have. Well, they had the old computer, the original computer they had, but it wasn't functional. And so we were able to recover all of the data that was on those floppies, and it was really cool to meet those from the estate. They drove it up to us, a few floppies at a time. They didn't want to have all the floppies in one place at one time, so we'd do a few recoveries and then do some more. And a lot of times we do that when it's that sensitive, when it's something where it's a whole collection of something, we will send it in segments in case there is something that happens along the way. But that was super cool
That's amazing.
to be able to do that, to help out the estate and see some things.
9 Inch Nails, the Grateful Dead's Bob Weir, no relation, wish there was. Bruce Willis for Die Hard 4. You is it fair to say that you're kind of Hollywood's go-to, oh crap?
I mean, well, Skywalker Ranch is just down the street.
I've heard that. I have heard that. I
So
have heard that.
you see, we have a few Skywalker Ranch.
And as a California company, yes, we've been
Yeah.
very fortunate to serve Hollywood for a long time.
Yeah, and I'm a Star Wars and a Star Trek fan, so I kind of like them both.
Nice.
That's why that was
Same.
exciting.
Same.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be a war.
No.
Right.
It's okay.
There's no competition.
No. And yet not only just Hollywood, because you told me prior to the episode, you are Apple's go-to when it comes to data recovery. So talk about that relationship.
Yeah, so that's been fostered over many, many years, but more than 20. We've worked with Apple as a preferred data recovery partner. So if you walk into an Apple store anywhere in the world and your iCloud backup was not working and something happens to your phone, for example, you dropped it in a lake. We've talked about that a little bit earlier. Some kind of water damage like that is, and you realize like all your pictures are not available and they're your wedding photos or whatever. Apple stores the Genius Bar, we've been working with them for so long, they will refer their customers to us because that's not a service that the Genius Bar offers. So we've been, and it's not just iPhones, but it's iPads and iMacs and MacBooks, and but it requires certain certifications in order for us to be able to open up the device without
Voiding the warranty.
voiding the warranty
Yeah.
is the word I was looking for. Yeah. So and they're one example. We've worked with Dell for over 20 years. We worked with Western Digital and other, manufacturers, technology manufacturers for a very, very long time.
Mike, you told me you actually don't want people to come to you.
Well, I mean, if they have a failure, yes, absolutely come here. But when I was first hired in 1994, one of the owners, he's passed since, but he interviewed me and he said, we're going to have a great time for probably till the year 2000 or so. Bubble memory is going to be coming up, and it's gonna
Bubble
change.
memory.
Bubble. It's look it up. It's a way to store data.
I guess that didn't hit.
Didn't hit. But the whole idea was that everything's going to be more on more of a stable platform. Spinning hard drives won't exist anymore. Flash will come up, and then even that would be replaced. And the reality is we have grown and grown and grown because there's so much data in everybody's lives. Back in 1994, a lot of the families had a computer, but nobody had a phone on them. And then by the year 2000, everybody had a laptop, and then 2007, the iPhone came out, and then your iPad, and I mean, it's everywhere. Data is absolutely throughout. Even in our cars, we've done recoveries for crash. When there's a crash and you need to have the footage from that crash to prove you did or did not do something like run a red light, then that is, something we need to recover.
Yeah, that's crazy. But we try to do a good job from a thought leadership perspective in promoting better backup practices and helping clients. We don't do consulting services. We talked briefly about this, but in our social media posts and thought leadership pieces that we put out, we try to do as much as we can around promoting the idea of multiple backups, and I think that is the answer, is why we are the ambulance that shows up after an accident. Unfortunately, human accident, intentionally by a threat actor or accidentally because humans make errors, or natural disasters, but backup, and have one copy in your hands, have another copy off-site, have another copy in the cloud. 3 backups is the general rule, and we hope that people don't lose data, but we have to be here when they do.
It's such an incredible story that I stumbled upon because I had a card fail, and I kept coming back to DriveSavers, world renowned. It's right down the street in Nevada. I got to talk to these guys. Ask yourself. The point of today's episode is to ask yourself, what is the value of your digital stuff, your books, your family photos, that project you've been working on forever? Have you ever put a dollar value on it? Have you ever even thought of it? And that's really all I was hoping for today. I wanted you to consider it, because unfortunately it can happen, and it can happen in multiple ways, whether it's an accident or whether it's intentional from someone else. Mm-hmm. So you can learn more about DriveSavers at DriveSaversDataRecovery.com. My name is Dano Weir. I'm with Sonoma Wealth Advisors. We're a fiduciary financial advisor in Sonoma. You can learn more about us at sonomawealth.com. Take our free wealth analysis. Wherever you found this show, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you making it all the way to the end. If you liked it, if you enjoyed the episode, we do appreciate likes and subscribes and any other interactivity that you want to throw our way. And we will see you next episode. Andy and Mike, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching and listening to It's All Money. We hope today's episode shared information to increase your financial confidence. Now is the time in the show for the voiceover with a bunch of words at the end. Listen close, though. You might find out something you didn't know. It's All Money is powered by Sonoma Wealth Advisors. Sonoma Wealth Advisors helps individuals and families in Northern California and across the country with building, managing, and sustaining wealth. Sonoma Wealth is a comprehensive, holistic finance solution, offering financial planning, asset management, tax planning, 401k solutions, and appropriate insurance. Take our free wealth analysis now at sonomawealth.com. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to It's All Money on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. It's All Money features human hosts, musicians, editors, video crew, and voiceover talent. Video production by Fours Media in Rohnert Park, California. Online at foursmedia.com. Music by Neon Beach, Sparkle Rising on Soundstripe. Voiceover by me, Dano. Thank you for listening to the very end. We appreciate diligent viewers and listeners. Fermata Advisors, LLC is registered as an investment advisor with the SEC and only transacts business in states where it is properly registered or is excluded or exempted from registration requirements. This content was produced by Fermata Advisors LLC, DBA Sonoma Wealth Advisors, DBA Fermata 401k, DBA Fermata Tax. The opinions expressed by Fermata Advisors LLC on this show are their own. Information presented on this program is believed to be factual and up to date, but we do not guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. Discussions and answers to questions do not involve the rendering of personalized investment advice, but are limited to the dissemination of general information. A professional advisor should be consulted before implementing any of the options presented. Information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for any individual. Viewers and listeners are encouraged to seek advice from a qualified tax, legal, or investment advisor to determine whether any information presented may be suitable for their specific situation. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.